Coming off the final pay-per-view of 2021, she kicked off the card, and I want to say the nicest fighter ever. Contacting me through Fight Week, always getting back to me, and I obviously can go through eye pokes. She made a huge statement at UFC 269 this past weekend. She is Gillian, the Savage Robertson. Gillian, it's been a long time since we spoke. How are you?
I'm doing great. Like you said, coming off a big win this weekend, and I was able to get the top with 1 second left, so that feels even better.
Yeah, so that was one thing, and we're obviously going to talk about your opponent, obviously. But one thing I'm always curious from like a fighter standpoint, because you'll see the walk-off knockouts, you'll see the knockouts at the 1 second. What was that like for you? Because I feel like, and you could obviously tell me I'm wrong, and you probably will say I'm wrong, but I can only believe, maybe not at your level, but on a smaller level, on a regional level, when there's 1 second left, fighters may have an urge to let it go and just go to the second round or go to the next round. But you kept it in there. You were looking for the finish.
Oh yeah, I knew that choke was in deep. I knew that it was in there, and I actually didn't know how much time was left. I knew that when I went for the armbar attempt, my coach said 30 seconds right before that. So I knew at that moment that there was 30 seconds left. So I knew that there was short time, and I knew I didn't have a lot, but I didn't hear the 10-second bell at all. So it's like I would have never known that we were that close when it finished. It was just till after the fight that I learned that.
No better way to describe what you do as throat cuddles. Making John Anik on the broadcast say he's never going to jiu-jitsu class again because of how you described it. Is that obviously you set a record, most submissions, by a woman fighter. Now, what does that alone mean to you?
Oh, that means everything to me. Even, I don't know, just to think that I remember when I broke Ronda Rousey's record, like that was like mind blowing to me. So like, I feel like I'm still so young and I still have so much to go to. So it's like, it's just the beginning, just setting this record. Just like, I'm going to get it to a point where it's like, no girls are going to catch up to me. So we're just starting here.
And when you talked about coming into this fight that you had improved in striking, and you obviously have a great team behind you with two people I know very well, Jose Shorty Torres and Dean Thomas and all your other coaches. But was it something where it's like, okay, yes, I'm improving in these areas, but I know what I'm great at, and so we're always going to look for that type of finish?
I guess the improving in my striking isn't necessarily to be a good striker. You know, it's so I can have more confidence in my grappling. And even like, say like my first couple shots I failed, like were failed attempts, where I feel like when I first came into the UFC, that might have messed with me mentally more, because it's like, all right, now I can't get her to the ground. Like I have to get her to the ground. And Dean always says to me, he's like, if you have to do something, then that's when you're messing up. So it's like now, because I don't have to get her to the ground, I'm confident enough in my striking. I don't feel like I'm necessarily like in danger on my feet as much as I used to be. I just used to have like so minimal when I first got signed to the UFC. So it's like, I feel like it just allows me to be confident. And if I don't get the takedown, then it's like, all right, I'll shoot again in 2 minutes. We'll just keep it on the feet. But no matter what, I'm still going to keep on moving forward. And even like taking risks on the ground more, where I'm going for more submissions and doing more things, giving her opportunities to get up, because I'm not scared if she gets up, because I know that I'll be okay. Fine. I'll be fine there.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I know that it was only a one-round fight, but I went back, multiple times this morning just to watch your fight, and they had said, Joe Rogan had even said, you were almost looking for, I believe it was submission over position, or I might have it reversed. And it was just like, to me, it sounds exactly like what you're saying, where you're willing to take more chances on the ground. Is that one thing that where you're talking about, listen, I'm not looking to become a better striker just to become a better striker. Is that something you want to be a part of your legacy? Because you talked about setting a record, or having set the record, and now wanting to make the record something that no one can touch in the future. Is that something you want to be a part of your legacy?
I definitely feel like I want to be a well-rounded mixed martial artist. So it's like, I definitely want to, my striking is going to keep on improving, and we're definitely going to keep on getting better there. It's just that I always know that my bread and butter and my go-to, and the way I can finish any girl in the UFC at this moment, is my jiu-jitsu. I know that my jiu-jitsu is good enough to hang with any of them, and I know that I can finish any girl with my jiu-jitsu. So it's like, primarily that's always going to be our go-to at the moment. But like I said, I want to get my confidence in my hands. I want to be confident in my hand, and hopefully be able to finish girls some days. It's just right now we know where I'm going to finish a fight. We just got to get me comfortable everywhere, make me a threat everywhere.
So one of the things I love about just how great of a person you are outside of the fighter that you are, is that like we were going to do this possibly later today, but you chose early afternoon, and literally about 15 minutes before, it's why I've kind of been veering off to the side here. Like right before we got on this interview, Cachueta kind of released a statement to MMA Fighting. I don't know if you've seen it. She called the eye gouges in your fight unintentional. She said, it wasn't my intention to gouge her eye when she was on my back. I didn't know it was going in the direction of her eye. My intention was to go for her neck and push it. That was my intention, but I was desperate, almost snoring, and it's a matter of survival, right?
Honestly, that's exactly what I like in post-fight interviews. That's what I was getting asked, is like, oh, you hugged her after, like, why were you so nice? I'm like, that's exactly what I thought it was. I'm like, it wasn't her necessarily trying to be dirty or trying to be aggressive. It's her having poor rear naked choke defense and fight or flight kicking in, and her not knowing what to do and just not being knowledgeable enough in jiu-jitsu to do anything else. So I feel like I can't really like blame her for her like reacting in that way in that moment.
Now there has to be criticism though, right? So there was a weight miss, and I want to get your thoughts on that. But there's also the eye gouging. There could be criticism on the referee, who, again, as someone who's watched this fight now 3 times this morning, it seemed like he was taking certain moments in that first round to warn about, I don't want to call them little things, but warn about certain things, and then doesn't warn or stop the fight at all for an eye gouge, which you would think is the most important thing, because that could be a career or life changer. With that being said, coming off a weight miss, coming off obviously another loss, and then the eye gouge, do you think there should be some type of discipline, whether it be, through the UFC or through the athletic commission, for your opponent?
I don't know. I guess like I definitely, there should be some criticism towards it, even with the eye gouge. Just like, as a professional fighter in the UFC, you should know enough to not like, you shouldn't be freaking out in a rear naked choke where you have to gouge someone's eye. But it's like, that's the point that she was at. So it's like, I feel like as a professional fighter, you should be more accountable and have more knowledge. But I don't think, like, in the moment of the fight, if the fight continued, maybe like take a point away from her. Other than that, I don't really see how they're gonna penalize that, but she's already got penalized for missing weight. Like, I got 30% of her purse for that. So I'm like, I feel like she's already gotten that. Like, everybody's saying, oh, cut her from the UFC. I'm like, I feel like that's a little bit too extreme there. Like, she's coming off of 2 wins before this, 2 pretty good knockouts. So I'm like, I don't think that like that one moment should like ruin her career.
Yeah, I was going to say, and that's obviously so nice of you, because that was like the number one thing outside of you having a record now, you having a huge win, added to your resume. Everyone was calling for Cachueta to never fight in the UFC again. And I'm talking some of the journalists who were in the arena saying that. And I was like, whoa. I was like, did I miss something? Was it that bad? And I know you did say after the fight that you were a little more upset about the weight miss. Is that just more of a professionalism standpoint for you more than anything?
Yeah, 100%. And also, like, I guess some girls, you expect them to miss weight, or it's more understandable. But I don't feel like she really had the size. Like, she wasn't like so much bigger than me, where like I don't even understand how she like did miss weight, because literally I didn't cut weight at all for this fight. So I'm like, I feel like she didn't even try almost. So I'm like, as a professional, you definitely take some type of offense to that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like there's one of those, that's one of those things where, again, if you're not even cutting weight, what would it be so hard? And if you're saying you didn't feel a size difference, then, I mean, you having 16 career professional fights, you would be able to answer this. Is that just a matter of effort and just not caring?
I think it has to. Like, literally, I woke up on weigh-in day at 126.8. So I had 0.8 to cut when I woke up that morning. So it's like, that's the only time I like really like sweated out during camp. I didn't have a hard cut at all. And I'm like, she had maybe 2 inches in height on me, but she wasn't like that much more muscular or anything like that. So I feel like it just has to be like lack of effort at that point.
What is that like for you then, to be in camp and wake up and be like, I'm on weight, I got 0.8 to cut before weigh-ins? And how much healthier is it for you to kind of have that consistency throughout fight camp?
the best I've ever felt in my fights is when I fought Poliana Botello in Abu Dhabi, and then this last fight in my 2 fights that I've walked the lowest weights, where I was 127 the whole camp with Poliana, and then I was like 130 this whole camp. And I feel like that's really ideal for me. So I'm like, I feel like it just makes you feel so much better whenever you're in the cage. You just perform better. And everybody thinks that like 5 or 10 pounds is going to make somebody better than you. But if they're better than you, they're going to be better than you. It's like that little bit of weight won't make that huge of a difference.
Now, I think you and I both know I was going to bring him up, but obviously I mentioned your team earlier. Obviously, Jose Shorty Torres, who apparently doesn't know I exist anymore, but your coach, Dean Thomas. And as busy as he is, as dedicated to you as he is, and a guy who's given out belts, black jiu-jitsu black belts to, guys like Tyron Woodley, to continue to finish with submissions, to continue to have him coaching you and believing in you and be in your corner every step of the way. What is that fighter-coach relationship like between you two? And the fact that you don't, no disrespect to any of them, but the fact that you're not with these major gyms and doing all this with like a brand name attached to you. It's just Gillian Robertson and Gillian Robertson's team. What is that relationship like with you? Not just with one coach, but your entire team.
With Dean especially, my relationship is just like, I feel like we like mentally we're just connected. Like especially like during fight week, there's no one who knows how to get me into that fight mode more than anything else. Like where I'm just ready to go. I'm 100%. Like he just knows the right things to say at the right time. Like I remember right before I fought Molly McCann, he was like, just remember you're a motherfucking savage. And like right before I walked out, I was just like, hell yeah. Like that's just the one thing that like got me going. He just knows like those one thing. Or like even during the fight, this time, I went for a Kimura attempt and I missed it. So I brought her up and I was I was kind of on her back, but she was in a seated position. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, all right, I need to flatten her back out. And then Dean says in my corner, he's like, all right, time to flatten her back out. I'm like, I feel like we're just on the same wavelength already, where it's like, what I'm about to do is what he's saying. Like, we're just like, he knows we're just on the same page. We've worked together so much. And I feel like that is everything to me, just to have him there.
And how special is that to not need that brand name? Because I want to get your thoughts on what we saw in the co-main event, on that same night of your fight. But, coming in, and no disrespect to Juliana Pena's coaching staff at all, but you have Amanda Nunes coming from American Top Team, and Rick Little, Juliana Pena's coach, is one of the best coaches in the sport. And, she had a lot of local Chicago coaches like Valley Flow Striking, and I believe Wayne Gregory from Gregory Boxing. So she had all these smaller coaches that, the diehards would kind of know of, but there's no brand name gym attached to her name. So when you have that, where you don't need that, you don't need the coaches with 1 million followers or the gym with 1 million followers and 100, celebrity fighters right along with you. How special is that for you to be like, I am getting everything I need whenever I need it by the people I need it the most?
I feel like especially at gyms like that, that's when you get lost and you don't get those things. Like, because there's so many fighters, there's so many higher level fighters that got a lot of money that all those coaches are going to pay attention to, where it's like, now it's just about me and my camp. Like whenever I'm in fight camp, we're focusing on what I need to focus on. Dean's drilling with me every single day, every single morning and night. We're making sure I get what I need. And it's just prioritizing me as a fighter, what you need to be to like create a champion. You can't, I feel like it's hard to create a champion necessarily in those big team scenarios, because it's hard to get lost in the mix.
And, you kind of have this rare kind of bond with him where when he left the American Top Team, it kind of came as a shock, and people were like, what is he going to do next? And, he had told me, like, I'm just going to work with individual fighters. And you're almost like exhibit A, everything he's doing with you. I can't imagine just how special you think the future can be for the both of you.
Oh, 100%. I'm literally a product of Dean Thomas. Like whenever I first started training, I never played a sport in my life. I never did anything. It was like I started at his gym with cardio kickboxing, with MMA. So everything that I do is his style. I feel like he's 100% created the fighter that I am. So it's like all I can hope to do is really just like be a good legacy to him.
So 2 last questions on your coach. Are you where he gets all his good comedy from? Because there's no way he comes up with these jokes on his own.
I don't think it's me necessarily. I'm not necessarily the funny one of the group, but we got Shorty and David over there always cracking jokes. All four of them together, all three of us together. It's like it's a handful sometimes.
I could only imagine. And on a more complimentary note, when you do watch, these other fight nights and you hear, Dean on the broadcast, are there so many times where you're listening to him break down fights as they're happening? You're like, yeah, I know exactly why he's saying what he's saying.
There's definitely a lot of things like that. And there's also like when Roxanne Modafferi was fighting Tyler Santos, he was like, all right, well, Gillian Robertson wasn't doing this. And I was like, oh, I heard you talking shit.
That is absolutely, but you know what? He stays true to him, and he stays true to you, really. I mean, it's true. And I know he's been on the show 1,000 times, and, I feel like I can have this kind of conversation about him. He'll probably come back at me, and I still got a little beef with him because when Daniel Cormier called me out on the UFC weigh-in show, Coach Dean was like, yeah, Mike was looking for some attention. And then I was like, did you know that was me? And he was like, yeah, I knew it was you. So now we've got a little bit of a rivalry. I got to get someone on his team to give him some shit as well. So crazy night in the world of the mixed martial arts world on your fight night at UFC 269. And I'm curious, Gillian, as someone who's been around the sport, who's fought for the promotion, obviously we mentioned her already, Juliana Pena beating Amanda Nunes. And the biggest talk is this the greatest upset ever? And is this the greatest women's upset ever? I'll start on the women's side. We obviously had a Holly Holm, Ronda Rousey. In comparison to that, Juliana Pena beating Amanda Nunes, is it bigger than Holly Holm beating Ronda Rousey to you?
I don't want to, toot my own horn here, but both of them, I like low key was like, I don't know. I would be like, I was telling people last week, I was like, I think Pena might give Amanda some problems. Like, I didn't expect it to go that way 100%, but I expected, like, Pena's just tough as shit. She's going to walk forward no matter what. And, like, I feel like what gave Amanda problems is that Pena was taking her best shots and kept on walking forward and kept on trading with her. And just because she was gangster about it, that's what won her the fight, is that she was able to do that. And I'm like, and then Holly Holm, I don't know. I felt like that one was pretty evident. I felt like I knew it was coming. Definitely, like I knew that she would be able to capitalize. Ronda's striking just wasn't at that level.
Yeah, see, where were the Gillian Robertsons when I first started covering this sport? Because my jaw was like on the ground. And whereas, to kind of, I guess, talk about how far I've come in the media side of things, there was a short exchange in the pocket between Amanda and Juliana. And I saw the way Amanda had reacted, and it almost seemed like she was ready to engage in a firefight. And I was like, oh, shit. And, like, I literally was like, I think this place is about to go crazy. And then it got to the ground. As a jiu-jitsu specialist, did you like seeing Juliana, upset the world with a choke rather than, a Holly Holm head kick?
Oh, yeah, she definitely, I feel like she set up that choke with her hands, though. Like, it was absolutely the damage on the feet that she was able to get that takedown so easily and get to the back. But obviously, it's always beautiful to see a choke, beautiful to see a finish.
One thing I did want to ask you, though, since you are, so well known, on the ground, and you're so smart in the ground world, when she had that choke, a lot of people who don't watch the sport said, oh, Amanda tapped quickly. And I know Juliana Pena went on Ariel Helwani's MMA Hour and said she didn't tap easily. I was going to break her neck. She was getting choked out. In that choke, I don't know if you can go back and replay it, but are there those moments where people are like, oh my God, he tapped so quickly? I guess another one would be like the McGregor-Habib choke, because they would say it's not completely under the neck. Just how dangerous can those chokes be, even if they're not fully secured under the neck?
Dean always says to me, he's like, your goal is to break someone's jaw with your choke. So it's like, if I don't have it under the neck, then that's the goal. So your jaw can break a lot faster than for me to get it underneath the neck, it's going to take a couple of seconds for you to really actually want to tap or pass out. Like, it's going to completely cut off your air. But if I have it against your jaw, it's like your jaw can break real quick. So it doesn't take a long time for that to happen.
So we've got throat cuddles and jawbreakers. Got it. So we want to just, if you want to put that on a t-shirt, you could have it. That's totally fine. You did talk about, and maybe this is one of your goals of 2022 is to break somebody's jaw with your choke. But you did set out, after the press conference and said, this now begins an entire new path, really a next level, if you would, in this stage of your career. I think at flyweight, as much as, women or women's, bantamweight and men's lightweight kind of took the headlines, I feel like, Aaron Blanchfield also fought on that card. You picked up a victory. Like, there's now so much opportunity and a little bit of shine for your division, which obviously Valentina Shevchenko has kind of just ran through, but you have young fighters like yourself breaking records, setting records, and moving up, throughout the division. You said you want to fight 4 times next year. Is that still the plan?
Oh, 100%. I feel like I took a couple months off and I needed this was my longest layoff ever in since the beginning of my fight career. So since I was 18 years old, I've never taken 9 months off of fighting. So I'm like, this last 9 months that I took in between these fights, I feel like I really was able to just correct a lot of things in my game mentally, how I'm running my camp, just physically, how everything that's going in everything in my life, I feel like I was able to really fix to I just needed to take that step back from fighting for a second. So coming off of 2 losses, I just needed to reanalyze where I was messing up and what needed to go right. And I feel like I found that.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say so, especially if you wake up on, weigh-in day and you only got to cut 0.8. I think you're doing everything just right. With that said, you mentioned you're on your path now to the champion Valentina Shevchenko. So a few questions here. When would you like to get in there come 2022?
The path to Valentina, I feel like everybody's hating on me for saying that, but I'm still saying it's at least a year or 2 down the road. We're not looking at the next fight for Valentina. But so I feel like I have to win 4 or 5 fights to be able to get to that title shot, but I really don't care who it's against. I'm just ready to get back in there. I literally have 0 injuries after this fight. My eyes a little bit squinty, but that's about it.
I wonder why. Are you looking at a 2-3 month period? Would it be a February, March, or would you like to come back? I mean, because here's the thing. I'm going to be real here because I'm going to ask you about the holidays coming up. You have Christmas coming up. So I know you were in camp during Thanksgiving. I don't know. And I'm not saying you're undisciplined, but would you like to enjoy the holidays and then prepare for fight camp? Or would you like to get back there within 2-3 months?
I literally celebrated Thanksgiving just fine. My weight has been so perfect. So I didn't even have to worry about that. I ate whatever I wanted on Thanksgiving, and it's going to be the same for Christmas. But so I'm ready to get back in there 2-3 months, whatever. We're ready to go. Just as soon as I get the call, as soon as I get the contract, I'm ready.
And I just want to say, for those giving you criticism for bringing up the champ, it's you're well on your way. You want to break in, obviously, into the top 15. What are they supposed to say? When you say, oh, I want to fight 4 times, you want to and expect to win all 4 fights. That would put you on a 5-fight win streak or 6-fight win streak if you go to 5 in a row. If you fight 5 times next year, what do they want you to say? Oh, I'll just, go on this epic win streak and then I guess I'll just fight whoever. No, obviously, you're in this for a reason. You obviously should have your eyes focused on the champ, and I give you props for saying her name when a lot of people won't. Are there any fights or opponents that you would either like or want to get back, or where you feel that you are? I know you're not big major on callouts, but is there anyone that you would really like to see yourself matched up with next year?
Yeah, I really don't care. I don't care about the callouts at all. I'm just there to fight. I'm there to have fun. So whoever's name is on the contract, I'm signing it. I'm not going to turn down a fight.
Well, I know that about you, and I won't push you to, but I will ask you this about the improvements that you've made in your career, everything you changed and focused on in this past fight camp, taking that time off, reassessing everything about Gillian Robertson, the woman, the fighter, all of that. What do you think, as you now trend upwards, makes you a threat in 4-5 fights from now to Valentina Shevchenko, or to eventually just one day become a champion?
I think, as I displayed this weekend, I've got a submission skill set that, no girl knows how to handle. No girl, it's very unique. I feel like no girl grapples like me. There's no girl that, I just have a style that's different, and I can finish any girl in this division on the ground. It's just about the first part, about being on the feet with her and getting it to the ground. I feel like that's where Valentina is going to pose me issues. But if it was just a jiu-jitsu match, I would take that fight today, But I'm like, I know that I have the ability to finish her once I get there. I just need the ability to confidently walk in there, be able to strike with her, and be able to get her to the ground, which I want to say I'll be able to develop that in the next 4 or 5 fights in the next year. But at this moment, I feel like that's why people hate on me. They think that after seeing that fight, they're like, oh, you ready for Valentina? I'm like, no, not yet. Give me a little bit, and then I'll be ready.
How dare you be a fighter who's kind of in touch with reality and realize it's like, I want to continue to improve. Don't jump down my throat. I know what I need to work on. Again, I give you all the props for that. So without keeping you for much longer, obviously we are coming up on the holiday season. How do you go about Christmas and New Year's? Like what is the annual Gillian Robertson tradition?
It's usually just spending time with family. Honestly, this year I feel like Christmas has just hit me hard now where I'm like, oh my gosh, that's getting close. Because I have only thought about this fight until December 11th. And then I just got home from Vegas yesterday. And now I'm like, oh, I have no Christmas shopping done. So it's definitely going to be a handful this year.
I was gonna say, so in your family, do they want you to like continue to pick up like these bonus checks after your fights and be like, all right, now we can add? Like, would you get did you get anything added to your Christmas shopping list after your fight? Like, oh, you just won, so here you go. I want this as well.
No, not quite, but it's definitely nice to have that little extra paycheck to be able to spend if I did get it. I'm like, how Dana hand out 7 bonuses and I didn't get one?
Yeah, that made no sense, especially a record-setting win for you. And by the way, you got your eye gouged out. Now, if I can't speak for Dana, but he's probably on top of the win. You also got 30% of her check, so so that might be his thing. I don't know, but other question here: does Dean Thomas get a Christmas gift?
Oh, of course.
Is it going to be like beard cream? Is it just for men, so we get the gray out of his beard? Like, what are we getting Dean Thomas here?
Honestly, it was funny. Shorty was thinking about getting him an ascot so he can wear it on TV. And then we noticed he wore one. He already has one. So we're like, oh, now we don't even know what to get him.
I feel like he has everything.
Exactly.
Are you more, so I'm more Christmas than New Year's. Just because I like whatever, the clock strikes midnight all the time. Like, great. I get it, right? But are you more Christmas or New Year's?
I guess neither one specific. I'm not a huge. The only holiday I really like is Halloween. I would say, I'm like that's my favorite holiday. Other than that, it's just like I feel like everyone's the same. Christmas is nice because you get to spend time with family. I feel like New Year's is more of a friends event for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, like I don't have a lot of family where I live, so for me, I just get to like post up with maybe 2 or 3 new gifts that I get and watch basketball all day. So I'm like, I'm good. Thanks. Merry Christmas. Thanks. Leave me alone. Where New Year's, you got to make plans and you got to get all this stuff. And it's like 30 people are going to be passed out before midnight. And it's just too much for me. Are you a fan of the Christmas music? And if you are, what is your favorite Christmas song?
I am not a fan of the Christmas music.
I should have known that, right? By like Halloween, your favorite holiday.
Oh, I cannot, like, the radio stations are killing me right now, honestly. I'm like, when I was a little kid, I loved that. I feel like, even like all through my high school years, I feel like it's just these last couple years, I'm calling myself the Grinch. I'm like, I just hate all this Christmas music.
That's great. I'll know to keep all my Christmas. I love Christmas. I'm actually wearing Christmas pants right now, but yeah, it's just my thing. I've seen now, like I kind of told you, I'm kind of like on home rest right now because I injured my foot, so I can't do much. So I just get Christmas pants and I just lounge around the house 24/7. It's great. With that all being said, what we should do is the UFC has that like musical playlist that they're putting together. Next Halloween, I'm gonna push. We need the Gillian Robertson Halloween playlist on the UFC music app. I forget the name of it, but we got to push for it.
Halloween playlist. I don't know if I can come up with that. Just a lot of serial killer stuff, maybe.
What we'll make it a movie playlist, whatever it is, we got to come up with the like 5 best things Gillian can think of for Halloween.
Sounds good.
Gillian, thank you so much for all your time today. Congratulations on your win. Can't wait to see you back. I know 9 months is a very long time, but in all seriousness, you're someone that I've loved talking to since the first time I ever got to speak to you. I'm so happy for you. Enjoy the holidays and hope to talk again before your next fight.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure speaking with you.